We should just be talking
Here we
as we
go.
go live in true
We're
36
live.
from the vault fashion.
We're live now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We should be, we were already tuning before the broadcast even went live. We were
That's
jamming.
true.
We're so warmed up on the third night of rehearsals.
We were just talking about our T-shirts, before we went live.
We both brought our T-shirt game for the final night of this run. I think.
Yeah, I'm wearing like my Grateful Dead shirt here. Can we see this? I wore one of my Grateful Dead shirts. This is a bootleg shirt.
Yeah.
Repping for 91.
You didn't make that yourself, Steve?
No, I didn't. This is shout out to Conrad Doucette. He turned me onto this shirt. This was like some bootleg company. I can't remember who made this, but Conrad ordered this and he was like, "You got to get this shirt too." And I was like, "Yeah, exactly." You got to represent for 91 Dead in this live episode because we're going to be previewing our final season. No 90s Dead.
No.
And barely any 80s Dead. Shout out to 80s Grateful Dead, by the way.
Twitter account, yeah.
Yeah. He was busting our chops for not picking any 80s Dead in our Dick's Picks draft. And, I'd be with you, but there's not much 80s Dead to choose from, and that's not our fault. That's the Dick's Picks series. I wish there was more Brent.
Right.
To choose from. We're getting so little Brent in our final season. And I have to say, really, like if you're talking Brent era Dead, 87 to 90 is the golden era. And I feel like we just get like early 80s Brent. And there's some gold there too, but like 87 to 90s Dead is like the golden era of Brent.
Yeah.
And I think like when the Dick's Picks series launched, that was maybe too recent.
Right. Well, I think they were trying to avoid Without a Net had just came out.
Right.
The Dick's Picks series started. So they were like, we're going to stay away from that era of the Dead. But by the time the Dick's Picks series ended, it was a decade later.
Yeah, we're in the aughts. We're in the aughts by this point. Without a Net's been out for, well over a decade. So
right.
they could have delved into the late 80s a little bit more. That's definitely the Brent glory years. It would have been nice to have more Brent. And I'm sad that we're not going to get any Brent. We get one album of Brent, which we'll get to because we're going to be previewing briefly all of the Dick's Picks volumes that we're going to be talking about. But yeah, I think that's the most glaring complaint, right? That we're one volume of Brent. It's a 1982 show. Would have liked more. Yeah. And for me personally, wearing the 1991 shirt, would have also loved a little bit more Hornsby. As well. But there's also tons of great stuff in our final season.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
tons of gold.
As you mentioned the previous episode when we were talking about our picks in the Dick's Picks draft of episode 1, that picking only the 70s was a very Twitter deadhead thing to do.
Yes.
Well, I think this season is kind of it's a very Twitter deadhead season because we're pretty locked into the 70s here.
I mean, is there any 60s ahead of us? I don't think there's any 60s.
It's all 70s except for the 182. So
man, straight 70s, man.
Yeah,
that 70s season. That's what this is.
Before we get into that any further,
should we introduce our show?
We'll introduce our show. We'll give a shout out to our sponsor, but let's introduce ourselves first.
Introduce our show. 36 from the Vault. I'm Rob Mitchum.
I'm Mitch Roberts.
You're Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, no, we're Rob and Steve, and we're on the last night of rehearsals.
Yes.
And you're going to have a full episode. I know these like 30, 45-minute episodes are just like a tease, basically. It's like beer barrel polka. It's
but like people are enjoying
a little sampler in between episodes. Oh, people love it, I'm sure. I mean, an appetizer can go a long way.
And because we haven't done anything in like half a year. And the Dead & Co. episode, I don't know if we even want to count that. I feel like that was just which was great. I mean, I think that's a good episode, but like the real 36 from the Vault has not existed for like 3/4 of a year before now.
Canonical 36 from the Vault.
Yeah. Exactly. The Dead & Co. episode that exists in its own universe.
Own continuity, right?
Yeah, and so yeah, it doesn't even count. So the least we can do is these rehearsal episodes, and hopefully people are digging it. I've been really missing the show. Thank you,
Zimmy the
Zimmy.
Tweety.
Oh, I like the Wilco reference. Thank
Yeah,
you. You're crossing the streams with that one. Rob and I are going to see Wilco together,
that's right. Just a couple
and
weeks.
yeah, gonna see a Yankee Hotel Foxtrot anniversary show. That's gonna
Yeah.
be amazing.
So I'm gonna see them play the last album I liked by Wilco. It's
Ooh,
gonna be great.
see, I don't want to say that because you're my plus one. Maybe the publicist that's hooking me up is watching the show, and they're like, don't take Mr. Dad Rock here."
I'm sure if I'm not on a list already for Wilco shows, I don't think it's gonna start now. So
It could be Jeff Tweedy could be watching this himself, and he's like, "Oh, wait a second, you're taking Rob Mitchum to the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot show? Wait a second, I'm going to rescind your." Yeah, I'm not ripping Wilco. That's Rob taking shots at Wilco. I revere Wilco. I'm the reverent one of Wilco on this show.
I'm surprised Wilco didn't come up in the curveball conversation. To be honest, like that,
They should.
That would be a contentious episode for sure.
Like you're taking shots at Ghost is Born with your comment, which I think, Sky Blue Sky to me is a masterpiece.
Right.
I know you're not a fan of that, but like I think Ghost is Born. You don't even have to argue about that album. But Rob apparently is taking shots at
I know.
Is Born.
I know what I'm doing. I knew what I was saying.
I know. See, this is the longest standing argument between me and Rob.
Yeah.
Well before the Dead, just arguing about 2000s era Wilco.
Right.
We could spend 3 hours on that alone, but I feel like we should get into our show. Should we shout out our sponsor, Skull and Roses?
We got to shout out Skull and Roses. Wilco not playing Skull and Roses, unfortunately, but there are a ton of. If you like the Grateful Dead, this is just 4 days of solid Grateful Dead immersion. The greater what's the word? The diaspora of Grateful Dead. Bands, cover bands influenced by the Dead, bands that love the Dead. You're going to get, of course, the headliner is a member of the Dead himself, Phil Lesh. We love Phil. We have nothing but good things to say about Phil.
I haven't seen Phil live yet. I feel like I'm terrible. I know. I mean, Phil, honestly, all bullshit aside, Phil is like, he's like second in command to Jerry, right? Or is it Bob?
Oh, man, that's the debate, right?
I
would go Phil probably, but you can make an argument for both.
Yeah, it's probably like they're second in commands, but Phil to me, and we're looking ahead to our season premiere April 11th, Dick's Picks 28. We did a 73 show, so I'm feeling especially reverent to Phil because 73 Phil Lesh. Come on.
Yeah,
you're not going to do any better than that. Just his playing on Dick's Picks 28. Don't want to spoil it. I feel like I keep saying that, but like his playing on that record is unbelievable.
Yeah,
and he still kills it. And he, what is he, like 81?
Yeah, it was supposed to be his 80th birthday at the lock-in in 2020.
Oh, so he might be 80.
So he's either towards 81 or 82. Yeah,
he's still out there though. He's playing great. I know there's
closest restaurant, unfortunately.
But there's people out there who feel like, not that we're going to compare Dead and Co. to Phil and Friends, but I know that there's a contingent out there who feels like Phil is the more adventurous, post-Dead iteration. He's
absolutely
super exploratory. So you're going to get an amazing show with Phil and Friends.
That's right. And if Phil and Friends doesn't do it to you, if you're more of a newer generation Deadhead, how about O'Teal and Friends? O'Teal Burbridge. He's moving in on the and Friends territory. He's got his own thing now. O'Teal, we were talking about how they probably are gonna, have a Beat It style standoff backstage, but I forgot that O'Teal Burbridge seems like probably the nicest dude in all of Jam Bandery.
Exactly.
So I'm sure we're just joking. There's not going to be a knife fight between.
We say this in jest. We say it because it's a funny thing to suggest, and part of what makes it funny is that O'Teal is such a nice spiritual guy. He would never pull a switchblade on Phil Lesh. That would never happen. But it's funny to think about. The two Grateful Dead bass players brawling it out backstage at Skull and Roses. But just a joke. Never would happen because they're both such spiritual, beautiful human beings. There's
That's
not going to be any like Will Smith,
no.
Chris Rock action here.
Oteil not going to slap Phil in the middle of his set.
It's all love, all love between these guys. And then you got Dark Star Orchestra. They're doing their thing.
Right. Melvin Seals and the JGB, Keller Williams, Jackie Green, Circles Around the Sun.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go on and on. We talked about a lot of the other bands. I am fascinated by one of the bands at the very bottom of the bill here, called Legion of Mario. What, like, I don't, is this like chiptune 8-bit covers of the Grateful Dead? Like,
no idea.
What is Legion of Mario all about? That's
no idea.
If anybody knows, drop it in the chat.
We got Legion of Mary, which is a Jerry Garcia side project. You get the Mario aspect of it. I don't know. Is it like Mario Benvenuto?
That's true. I'm
sorry. That's Marco Benvenuto. Sorry.
I like Mario. Maybe it's his brother, Mario.
Right. I thought you were going to say Pink Talking Fish. I thought you were going to shout out them because that's.
Well, we had Pink Talking Fish. We talked about them. We talked about Big Steve and the Ass Bites from Hell, which I learned today from the skullofroses.com website.
Yeah.
Includes Don Was. Don Was is one of the Ass Bites from Hell, apparently. So this is a week from today. It starts April 7th through 10th. It's at the Ventura County Fairgrounds in California. So might be a little late to buy those last minute plane tickets. I don't know. Have flight prices come back up? Flight prices still pretty cheap. I haven't had to book a flight lately, but if you're on the West Coast, you can make it to Ventura County. Check it out. There's tickets for sale on skullandroses.com right now. They're announcing all sorts of like musical news and sort of the extra musical themes and parades and the vendors that are going to be there and the beer and food that's going to be there. So go check out the website, and thank you, Skull and Roses Festival, for sponsoring these episodes. They've been a lot of fun, and I think we're good, and I think we should get into previewing.
Yeah, we had a mailbag, but let's do the mailbag for a future episode of our show. I think we should get into the preview here. And by the way, if our fans want to do a Patreon to raise money for a private jet to send me and Rob to Skull and Roses, we aren't going to discourage that. Like, if you guys want to send us there, that'd be amazing. So just a gentle suggestion. We're not saying you have to do that, but if you want to do that, that'd be great.
Or if you're flying in a private jet from the East Coast and you want to stop over in the Midwest and pick us up and then go, that would work too. You don't have to give us our own private jet. We'll ride in yours.
If Bill Walton is watching this, and because he probably has a private jet access, if you want to hook us up, that'd be amazing. But yeah, let's get into our season preview here. Because this is what it's all about. Looking ahead to season 4. I have to say, so we've already touched on the lack of diversity in terms of different eras. It's straight 70s, and we've talked about this in some of our other preview episodes. I like the diversity. I like getting into different eras. I think Rob feels the same way, right? Like, we both like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're just going for a high batting average of bangers, staying in the 70s is you can't really dispute that.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this lineup for the 4th season, I will say I am a little bit disappointed that we're not getting we get the 180s show, but I liked getting the 190s show. I liked getting the 60s show. I like mixing in a little bit of variety, but I mean, we're covering all the 70s. We've talked about it a million times. The Dead changed so rapidly in the 70s. The band that we're going to hear, in 77 is 1,000 miles away from the band that we're going to hear from a 1971 show.
And even from the fall of 72 to the spring of 73, you're getting a different band. So
exactly.
Pretty exciting. So let's get to our preview here. So we're going to talk about.
Right. Steve's got props.
I got props here. Dick's Picks 28 is our first episode of the season premiere. This is 2 shows. We got Lincoln, Nebraska. We have Salt Lake City. 226.73, 228.73. Little spoiler alert. We've actually already recorded this episode. So Rob and I have sounded off on this. already, so we don't want to. I keep saying spoiler alert when I talk about Dick's Picks 28. I
Yeah.
don't want to dig too deep into what we've already said about this, but yeah, it's a heater. We could say it's a heater.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think we're not blowing anybody's mind to tell you 1973 show is good. So
Yeah.
if you want to hear 2.5 more hours on that, stay tuned. About a week and a half from now, it'll be up. It'll be live. And look at this. Can you even lift that? How
I
heavy
can.
is that thing?
Look at this. This is like this is a six banger, man. This is 6 CDs. Dick's Picks 29.
Yeah.
2 shows. I don't know if they're complete shows. If they're not complete shows, they're
I think it's missing
complete.
one song. I was looking it up today. There's one song they had to leave off, but it also has filler from yet another 77 show.
I believe it's like October 21st.
Yeah.
77. But yeah, mainly we're talking about Atlanta, 5/19/77, and Lakeland, Florida, 5/21/77. Right here. I think for this, we're gonna have to talk about the shows as complete shows rather than breaking it down per song or per disc, because this could be a very long episode. But it's also lots of glorious Grateful Dead on this one.
One thing we'll talk about it this season. We'll have plenty more time to talk about it, but every Dick's Picks this season is quite long.
Yeah, there's
only 2 disc. That's the smallest, and that's the 82 show, of course. So the 80s get slighted again.
Yeah.
Everything else is at least 3. There's a lot of 4 CD sets. So I'm interested to talk about, was that the right approach? I mean, Grateful Dead fans, for them, more equals better. But I'm wondering in some cases already, even just at the start of this season, if maybe there could have been a little more editing. Maybe there could have been a little curating by the Dick's Picks team here. But I'm just gonna throw that out there and leave that for further discussion.
I think at this point they were just like, and this was still, I think, pre Live Archive. I wonder, like, when Live Archive started, if that was mid.
I think the archive was. I remember listening to the archive back like when I was at college in the 90s. Like, it existed in some form.
But like, in terms of it actually, I'm sure it existed back then, but like in terms of it actually being something that you could stream and it wouldn't take like, an hour to stream like one song. Like, was that like early aughts, mid aughts? I mean, I know for me as a burgeoning Deadhead in the early 2000s, I feel like the development of the Live Archive was like a big thing with growing my own fandom. And I don't know. At any rate, I feel like maybe with the Dick's Picks getting longer, they were still feeling like, well, people don't have access to all of this music, so we'll just throw it on these discs. Yeah. They didn't know that people would be podcasting about it in 20 years, and
right, of course,
make very long episodes.
And I think every time, all those early ones that did like partial shows, I think people were probably like, God damn it, why didn't you put out the whole show? And so that's what, I think maybe they went a little too far in the other direction. All right, you're holding up volume 30.
Yes.
Which is the Academy of Music shows. So I'm really excited for this one. We're just off the 50th anniversary of these shows. A more sophisticated professional podcast would have timed the season so that we hit these shows right on the 50th anniversary. We are not that podcast.
No. We'll hit this like in about like early May, I think.
It'll be early part of May. So about 5 weeks from now, it'll still be fresh off the anniversary, right? You'll still want to hear it.
Yeah. And like they're playing like with Bo Diddley.
Yeah. On one of the discs. It's a Hell's Angels private party.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
They're doing like, this looks pretty goddamn sick. I'm really excited. This is like Hell's Angels, Grateful Dead. This is like badass.
Right.
Anchor tattoo, Born to Lose tattoo across your chest. This is you're gonna want to like smoke a lot of cigarettes while listening to this volume.
Or like
I think
DMT. Yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna be a good one.
Our friendly rival Jesse Jarno just went through those shows on Twitter. So if you need a little want to wet your taste for that, that's where you can find some good info.
You're only following because he's hosting the other Grateful Dead podcast.
That's right.
I think there's only 2. Or there's 3 actually. There's Broke Down Podcast. Got shout out to Broke Down Podcast. You got us, and you got the official Grateful Dead podcast. We're the show where you don't actually want any facts or information.
Right.
You only want takes.
Jesse can tell you the exact date when the Live Music Archive
Yeah.
went up and streamed music. We just guess randomly off
Yeah.
of foggy college memories.
We're giving you takes.
Yeah.
We're giving you priceless takes here.
Right.
You know, he's giving you facts, which is, you know, that has its place.
Mhm.
But we're giving you takes, which are
no hypothetical knife fights on Jesse's podcast. All right, Dick's Picks 31, back to the sweet spot of 73 to 74.
Yes.
This time we're in August 74. We got shows. This one is kind of a grab bag a little bit.
It's like, yeah, we're in Philly and we're in Jersey City. More East Coast bias.
Of course,
here.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the least attractive cover design of all time. It increasingly gets worse with Dick's Picks. As the music gets better, the typography gets worse.
There's like an inverse relationship between the music and the cover art.
I don't know what's going on here. It's like sort of like
it's a screensaver. It's basically just it's a screenshot of a screensaver.
Pretty non-committal font here too. Not the best font selection, but amazing music.
Yeah, Wall of Sound. It's a Wall of Sound show. It's got two play-ins that I think are each about a half hour long.
Oh man,
it's gonna be Beardy Phil at the peak of his powers.
We got CD1 kicks off with playing in the band into Scarlet Begonias, into Jack Straw, into Peggio.
Ooh.
That sounds like a pretty amazing progression on CD1. And CD4, Eyes of the World, into playing in the band, into Scarlet Begonias, back into playing in the band. My mouth is watering already. Sounds pretty amazing. 31. Here we go. Brent.
Right.
Finally.
It's the little 32. Skinny one. The little skinny package is Brent, unfortunately. Yeah.
Skinny banger, but you know what? What you get less in quantity, you're getting all in quality here, I think.
And hey, Alpine Valley.
Alpine Valley.
Steve and I have been to Alpine Valley together. We're going again this summer.
We
talk a lot about Alpine Valley.
Yes. Forget the East Coast bias. We're all about the Mid Coast bias. Middle of the country, Alpine Valley. I think, is this the first Alpine Valley? I think it is.
In the Dick's Picks, sure. Yeah. I don't know when Downhill from Here came out. The video, which is a later 80s show, right? At Alpine Valley. It's 88 or 89.
I think for Dick's Picks, it's definitely the debut of Alpine Valley. Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to talk about Alpine Valley in this episode.
Yeah.
Because all you East Coast people, East Coast chauvinism, East Coast elitism, get that out of here. We're going to talk about Alpine Valley, one of the great music venues of all time, one of the great jam band venues. You don't know shit till you've been to Alpine Valley. It's the Red Rocks of the Midwest.
Yeah, yeah.
We get a man smart, woman smarter too on here.
Oh God! Wow. Well, I'm less enthusiastic all of a sudden.
we get a China writer, then a man smart, woman smarter, Ship of Fools playing in the band, and then drum space. Is that? I think that's the debut of Man Smart, Woman Smarter.
Really? Ooh, historic.
I think it is. I don't think we've, because we haven't had much Brent. I don't think we've had that.
Oh, you mean for Dick's Picks? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, of course. What do you think I'm talking about here?
I thought you meant it was the first time they ever played it. I thought you were trying to drop some like.
Well, you think I've done research on man?
Yeah.
You think I've dug into the Man Smart, Woman Smarter heady jams? Like,
I don't know what you do with your free time. It's
no. I know Dick's Picks. I don't know the history of each song, but I know Dick's Picks. I know Dick's Picks history. We have not heard that yet.
Yeah, no. I would remember. I would have the scars if we had heard that. Yeah.
Oh, come on. Can't be talking like that already. All right, here we go. Dick's Picks 33.
Right. 76 shows. So I was really excited about the Dick's Picks 20. I haven't listened to hardly any Grateful Dead 76. Dick's Picks 20 was really interesting. I don't think it was the best Dick's Picks, but it was one that definitely sort of whetted my appetite for digging deeper into 1976. So I'm excited to double dip on that. Day of the Green shows.
Yes.
from Oakland Stadium.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's October 9th and 10th of 76. And this is a four banger for you CD fans, 4 CDs on this record. And yeah, 76, they're coming back from the hiatus,
right?
integrating Mickey back into the band. They are, gearing up for the 77
Yeah,
uh,
not as slick though,
epoch. No.
and a little more creative in the set listing. So,
Yes.
Steve, do you know who co-headlined those shows with them in
The Who.
'76? That's right.
The Who, yeah. And
Yeah,
and we've talked about this, I think, a little bit before, but there's an interesting uh, interaction with the Who and the Dead. You don't think
right.
of the Who really being jam friendly, but like Townsend had a lot of respect for the Dead and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe we should see if those Who shows are out there. See if there's some bootlegs of the Who,
Ooh,
because four
that's a good.
CDs won't be enough for an episode. We got to listen to 2 other shows by a
I
different band.
mean, that's kind of the end of the Who Keith Moon era being great. I mean,
Yeah.
because they reconvened like a year later to film the Kids Are All Right
Mm.
performances, and Keith Moon by then had already precipitously fallen off.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
not playing nearly as well, but he was playing pretty hot in 76. I see we get a Might As Well on here. I don't know if we've had a Might As Well.
I don't think we have. No.
It might be a Dick's Picks premiere.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm seeing a Johnny Be Good as a encore on here too. We're getting a Barry. Lots of good stuff here. All right. Here we go. Dick's Picks 34.
Yep.
We
Back
have
to
a
77.
we have an exclusive company price tag on here that is so stuck on there I can't get it off. But this is
Diminishing the value.
Well, but it's also shouting out record stores, so I appreciate that. It reminds me of when I bought it. This is Rochester, New York, November 5th, 77, another 77 show. Following up Dick's Picks 29.
Yeah. In the fall this time. I don't know much about this show. What do we got to look forward to in Dick's Picks 34?
Well, we're also getting quite a bit of November 2nd, 77 from Toronto. We're getting about 7 songs from there as well. This is a 3-banger. I don't know. I mean, it looks like a pretty straightforward 77 show, although on CD2, you can see that here. If I can hold it right here, you get a Phil solo. And then you get Take a Step Back as its own track going into Eyes of the World. So you get a Phil solo, Take a Step Back, Eyes of the World. Hell of a progression right there.
Damn.
Pretty excited for that. Dick's Picks 35. I do not have this CD yet. I just bought this CD. This was like the hardest Dick's Picks for me to find.
Yeah.
I've literally searched for this for about 3 or 4 or 5 years. I just recently got it, so I don't have a CD to hold up for Dick's Picks 35.
Yeah,
that's a 71.
Does that complete the whole set for you?
That will complete. I'll have everything at that point.
Wow,
and
amazing.
This is another 4-banger.
Yeah,
this is
71. Going back to 71 for the first time since Dick's Picks 2, I believe.
This is covering 3 shows. We got San Diego, Chicago, and Hollywood. Hollywood, actually, I had as a bootleg for a long time.
Ah, nice.
That's a really good show.
Yeah. And these tapes were discovered as part of the houseboat tapes, which are the tapes that they dubbed for Keith when right before he joined the band. Like Cherry dubbed him some reel-to-reels and said, "Here, listen to these and learn the music." And then I believe they sat on Keith's parents' houseboats for 35 years until somebody found them, and they were still playable, and they turned them. I think it was a pretty quick turnaround from when they found them until when they put out Dick's Picks 35. So
they just some
fun history.
They had like a houseboat just sitting there for like 35 years.
Apparently, or I think they still lived there, long after Keith passed away.
But just like Grateful Dead tapes on their houseboat.
Yeah, like shoved under a hammock or something. I don't know. Whatever you have on a houseboat.
It's the kind of life I want. I want a life where I just have a houseboat for 35 years, and then someone's finally like, let's like pick up this dirty laundry. What's under here? Oh, it's Grateful Dead tapes.
Right.
That
That
have been
nobody's ever
uncovered.
heard before. Nobody had ever heard soundboards of these 1971 shows until they found them on the boat. So
Ah,
yeah,
man, I
some
want a
good
houseboat.
Grateful Dead history. Yeah,
I want a houseboat, man. A houseboat would be amazing.
I could see you being a houseboat guy. The only problem is you'd have to live somewhere warm, which is
Well,
not
yeah.
not your style.
Well, at some point it will be. I want to be
Yeah,
like Sonny Crockett in Miami Vice, where he has the houseboat and like the alligator on board.
yeah,
And I don't know if there's any Grateful Dead tapes on the Sonny Crockett boat,
right.
but it'd be pretty amazing.
Well, it's like
And
the Jimmy Buffett retirement village. Are they going to have a Grateful Dead retirement village?
now,
Just all houseboats, and they
yeah,
put some tapes underneath all the beds for you.
uh, yeah, like houseboat. That just seems like such a romantic idea. Having a houseboat.
I can't wait till we do 3 more hours on houseboats
I think
for Dick's
so.
Picks 35. For our penultimate episode ever, we're just going to talk houseboats.
I just want to. I don't know. Does anyone else out there have a romantic idea of houseboats? I just think it seems so awesome to be on a houseboat. Anyway, our last electrifying conclusion here. Dick's
Yep,
Pick 36,
the end
and
of the run.
hell of a conclusion to go out on. We've got the Spectrum 92172. We've already had 2 shows from September of 72, and we talked
Yeah,
about them both in our draft episode. Dick's Picks 11 and 23.
yeah.
And this one might be the best.
Mm,
We'll see.
I can't wait. Yeah, they're all from like the same week, even. Like it's a pretty like tight run.
Can you imagine if you're following the Dead that week? You're just like, oh, we're gonna see the Dead tonight. Maybe
Yeah,
they'll play Dark Star again. Maybe we'll do like another half-hour Dark Star that will
yeah.
like make me see Jesus Christ himself. And because that was like the kind of week they had this week in September of 72. Because this is, I think you referenced this earlier. Is this not Dick's favorite Dark Star on this
You know,
record?
that's always what I've heard. Like I tried to corroborate that shortly before we went on the air tonight. I mean, I'm going to take a few more months of research to confirm that for sure. I think Dick was the kind of guy that anytime you asked him what his favorite Dark Star was, he gave you a different answer.
Well,
And so I think maybe he answered this one more than most, but I don't think they're even within the man Dick Latvala, there was not consensus about the greatest Dark Star of all time. But certainly this is one of them.
I mean, I've
And
heard
we'll get
this
to that.
one. It's a pretty amazing Dark Star. Like, I mean, and that we're not even counting, the Dark Star from Veneta.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
think
Veneta? Veneta?
I think we finally found out it was Veneta, though. I'm gonna
Veneta?
or Veneta.
Veneta?
Now I forgot.
Veneta. Veneta.
I forget which one is right and which one is what I've been calling it for years. So,
Which is
yeah.
which is I think from it's like from a month prior. Obviously, it's
Right.
August 27th, 72.
Mhm.
But yeah, you go Dark Star into Morning Dew into Beat It Down the Line. It's hilarious that they played that after that. And then Mississippi Half Step, Sugar Magnolia, Front of the Devil. Yeah, this is a 4-banger. These are all like 3 or 4 bangers.
Yeah, exactly. We're not cheaping out on you in the final run here.
Yeah. So that's our season preview. Hard to find like a lame duck in the bunch.
Yeah. Unless it's the 82 show, but by then we're going to want some Brent.
I don't think so. I think the 82
Yeah.
show is going to be great. And
I'm skeptical of that fall 77 show. Just going purely on paper, I'm a little bit like, I don't know, man.
I think
I don't. It doesn't have that zing that the rest of these do, but coming in with low expectations, that's usually when you get your mind blown. So
yeah, and I just feel like that's an instance of us just being like, we're looking to be disappointed at some point, because it's so stacked.
Yeah.
There's no obvious weak points here.
Right.
Here, so I don't know.
So we're reaching.
So hopefully you're as excited as we are to dive into all these. We have already recorded our Dick's Picks 28 episode, and that's a heater. I think you're all going to love that if you haven't dug into that already.
Do your homework. You got
do your homework on that. And it's not homework because, and do we want to talk about? Do we want to like preview? Because we talked about a couple of 73 shows that we referenced in that episode. Do we want to mention that here now?
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, I just want to say, like, before you go into Dick's, well, as you go into Dick's Picks 28,
Right.
I would also just throw out 21573. It's a show in Madison, more Midwest love there. That's the first instance of the Dead playing Eyes of the World. Wait, is it Dark Star into Eyes of the World? I
Dark
think is
Star Red Eyes. Yeah.
yeah, and it's also like one of the first time they ever played Eyes of the World. I think the world premiere of Eyes of the World was 2973.
Right.
So you might want to check out that show too. But 2973, 21573, and also was it 31673?
That's right, at the Nassau Coliseum, which if you like the Dick Picks 28 Dark Star, I feel like that one is very similar in the path that it takes, but maybe gets the edge for me a little bit, at least on for that particular song. I don't know about the rest of the show, but yeah. So no Deadhead is satisfied with just one Dark Star. So
Yeah.
if you want to do some extra bonus credit homework, check out the Dark Stars. Around that whole month, you're not going to go wrong with Spring 73 Dark Stars.
So I think that about does it for our last rehearsal episode. Thank you for your patience. I hope we didn't miss all of our cues. I think we hit most of them.
Yeah.
And also shout out again to Skull and Roses. Thank you again for sponsoring our rehearsal week here. Again, that takes place. We got a question here. Dick's Picks versus Dave Picks. Who's better? I don't know. It's hard to answer that because I don't know Dave's picks nearly as well. I've been just a subscriber to Dave's now. I'm going on my third year.
Yeah.
But there's 41 volumes. I know like the last 10 fairly well.
Right.
But we are students of Dick's Picks. I am but a protege of Dave's Picks. I will say one thing. I think I can say this already, that Dave's Picks has better artwork.
Well, there's that. Yeah, absolutely.
Than Dick's. Although I will say that like the red and black Dick's
classic
is forever my favorite. Like,
yeah,
that's the greatest of all time.
Dave Picks should do a year that just throws back to the old Ampex cover.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. You can have that one for free, Dave.
And I believe, because I think the first Dick's Picks was 93.
Mm-hmm.
So next year would be the 30th anniversary of Dick's Picks. So if we can just throw that out there, Dave's Picks, maybe tip the cap to Dick's Picks 30th anniversary, do at least one red and black volume. I think that'd be pretty amazing.
Yeah. And our boy Ryan asking if we prefer Dark Star or other one, 72 to 74.
Ooh, well, I don't know. I mean,
we kind of get into this in this episode coming out.
That's my favorite period of Dark Star, so I'll say Dark Star, but
it's really hard to not go Dark Star there. Other ones, they're great. What a great time for other ones. I think Dark Star is still giving you a little more variety, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about Dick's Picks 28 as a preview is that you get a Dark Star and another one.
Right.
And like the disc 2 and disc 4 of 28 are such a great companion.
Yeah.
What song did you learn to love while you were doing your 36 from the Vault homework? Man,
I got a good answer to this. You know what I'm really into? It's kind of a double answer because they're similar songs. Is Sugary and Peggy-O.
Oh yeah,
songs that in my youth I maybe would have skipped over. Is just kind of like, it's a slow Jerry song. Nothing exciting happens there. Sugary for sure. I was like totally dumb about. There's some amazing Sugaries in the Dick's Picks series and in the shows around the Dick's Picks.
77 Sugary.
Oh, we got another one coming up in 29. That's I was listening to last night. It's great. But Peggy-O too. Peggy-O is a song that I totally underestimated my whole Dead listening life, and now I'm old enough to appreciate the serene sort of beauty of a nice Peggy-O.
I always loved Peggy-O, and again, shout out to 91. They played Peggy-O in 91, so early in my Dead history, I learned to love I didn't learn to love that song. I just loved it. I will say that the song that I've really come to love that I feel like, because I talked about Dick's Picks 1 being one of my favorites, and I feel like I skipped over this when we were talking about it, is Big River. I
Yeah.
feel like that song gets, I was inclined to dismiss that as like a, this is like a Bobby
Another
Cowboy song,
skippable Bobby Cowboy. Yeah.
but it's actually not a Bobby Cowboy song. It's a Jerry Garcia guitar solo showcase,
Right. Yeah.
and especially in the early '70s, just hearing him kind of rip off these like honky tonk guitar solos at length, that's just become a song that I would have skipped before we started this journey, and now I always look forward to hearing that.
Yeah.
It's always like a barn burner for me.
When is slide guitar okay?
Always, always.
We know Steve's answer. I mentioned this on one of the episodes when I was ripping on slide guitar. It said, I love slide guitar when it is just like dripping with guitar effects. Like it's got tons of pedals layered over it, and it's just incredibly psychedelic and drippy. My favorite slide guitar player, I think, is David Gilmour. I think David Gilmour was an incredible slide guitar player because every time he played slide guitar, there's like a whole pedal board of things going on over the top of it. And it sounds just ridiculously good. Like One of These Days, great slide guitar song. One of these days. Yeah, one of these days.
Or High Hopes, if you want to go like later Pink Floyd.
Ooh, you can go late and get it too. That's a little more like your standard slide guitar, I think. But like the early
it's still like super psychedelic. I mean, I don't know, like the ending of it. I feel like that's the ultimate Dave Gilmour slide guitar solo.
Okay, yeah, I guess the ending. I was thinking of the ending. Yeah. So
I mean, I love all kinds of slide guitar. I like bluesy slide guitar, like Elmore James. Going back to that, I think is great, and obviously Dwayne Allman if you're going in more of like a rock context. But I mean, I like this. Obviously, I love psychedelic slide guitar too. But one of my favorite sounds in all of music is like pedal steel. And
so I was gonna say that too. Like maybe it's hypocritical, but I love pedal steel.
It's not that far removed.
I know. I can't explain it.
This is your aversion to blues rock. It's like you are so against blues rock that any kind of blues affectation, because I feel like because pedal steel, I think, is more of like a melancholy sound generally. And
I'm a melancholy guy.
You're a melancholy guy, and if we're talking about pedal steel, if we're talking about slide guitar with Jerry, I always associate that like with the beginning of Weather Report Suite, which I think is more of like a pedal steel type vibe that he's playing with there. And, whereas Bob, it's probably more of the traditional blues rock type thing. But anyway, I love slide guitar.
All right, we got to wrap it up though. Thank you.
We're wrapping it up.
Thank you for watching us live.
Yes,
really appreciate it. It's so good to be talking at you guys again. I'm excited for the season. I hope you're all listening. I hope we come up with a good idea for how to extend it if we go beyond the final 36 from the Vault season. But shout out again to Skull and Roses. Check out skullandroses.com to learn all about their festival. I hope it goes great next week. I hope if you go, you have an awesome time. I want to see some live music. Wish I was there, seeing some Grateful Dead music in a field with beautiful weather. That sounds really nice right now. Let's do this some more. Let's get back on tour.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in a couple weeks for our season premiere.
All right, later on.